Alright, hello, hello. Waiting for people to start rolling in, make sure this is working. Let's see here. Make sure I can hear myself on replay. Hello? Alright. Let's test this out, make sure it's working. I think I may have set this up to go unlisted. Let's see, I see it on my own channel. I don't see anyone in here. There we go. Okay, I see a person. Alright. Still only at around 6 viewers. Is this unlisted? We may have to, if we stay like below 10 people for 5 minutes or something, then chances are something's gone awry and I may have to stop and start over again. But we'll see. Looks like some people rolling in. Hello, hello. How's everybody? No echo. Yeah, fixed that this time. I like seeing everybody's names in here. Flavius Constantinus Magnus. Jackman. Hi, I'm a dog. Julie, I think I recognize your icon. Someone's saying, watching this while playing EU4. Nice. 47, now you're good. Notification. Yeah, this seems to be working. Someone's asking, what shoes are you wearing? What? How many people wear their shoes inside all day? Now someone's shouting echo. Let me switch this on so I can hear it. Oh no, I don't think there's an echo. I think I've just put the mic a little too close to myself and beginning to peak a little bit. That might be better. Someone's saying, "You live another day, France." They're spared my terrible and very entirely competent wrath. Someone else watching while playing Hearts of Iron 4. All right. So the program today is going to be pretty casual. I'm just gonna take some questions for a little bit, do sort of like a Q&A, and I've got all of my subscriptions pulled up so I can give a little bit of a little love to some other channels, go through just kind of the people that I watch. Are you familiar with the work of Peter Zechian? I have not. Zephyrus? This is interesting. I don't believe we have met. Oh, I like that your name shows up with a little check mark so I can actually see that you're in here. I'm pretty sure I'm subscribed to you, actually. What an excellent day for you to be here. Someone asking, will I make a Discord? And I don't use Discord a lot, so I don't know really that it's not something that I would probably interact with a bunch. If it's something that, like, you know, I know it's something that a lot of channels do, so if it's something that a lot of people want to see, I might be able to look into setting one up. Are you familiar with Ashen Shea Films? I feel like I'm going to get a lot of questions of who I'm familiar with, and I feel like it's probably best for me to just start rolling, and you can see for yourself. Let's see here. Oh yeah, I've got my own channel pulled up just so I can make sure that this is working. I'll just kind of start from the top of the list and go down. And I'm very curious to know sort of how many of these people overlap with my own audience. I imagine some of them are going to be quite a bit, but some I think will be a little more rare. I'm guessing most people here are familiar with Cogito, who's done an absolutely brilliant thing. I always sort of wondered why his name shows up like at the top of my subscription list, and just like always I'm seeing his face. It's these little like dash marks. I feel like I should just do that for myself. Find the whatever Unicode character. Actually, let me Unicode. And just see whatever one comes up first, and just put like a bunch of those right at the front. Learning something new. Oh, is it serious? Oh, no character. I don't think I can slip that in. Oh my god, this is a lot of backend that I didn't realize were a thing. Line feed vertical tab. What is the first like actual thing? I'm sorry, I'm getting sucked way into deep on a random rabbit hole, but I just kind of want to know. Oh, it's just a space. Okay, that's sort of disappointing. Anyway, Kikito's a great guy. Had the chance to meet him once. I'm deciding if I pull up the channels as I go along. But if you've seen my channel, you've probably seen his. Aaron Long. I always forget this guy's name. I recently, I don't know if anyone knows Crazy Boris, who was he was the voice of Teddy Roosevelt on that video. I followed him on Twitter, and he recently recommended keep going. Sorry, reading chat, and it's like 3 minutes behind. Anyway, he recently recommended this other animated series that I should probably actually pull up. Sublo and Tangy Mustard. Real, only 12,000 subscribers. Real sort of niche content here, but like really great stuff. And he's been doing this for like several years at this point. It's basically, I wish I had like a good immediate sort of log line. But it's like, you know, workplace comedy with just that bit of like that YouTube animation quality, and that certain like sense of humor, I guess, that really sort of makes me think of like back when animation was a viable thing on YouTube and was something that people actually did when they didn't need to release a video every single week. Someone immediately guessing libertarian. This chat is the weirdest I've been in. I've loved it. I am trying to figure out what's going on with this chat. I'm seeing a whole bunch of stuff about credit card information, and I'm trying to make sure that it's not just the same person spamming things, or if it's like actually people just memeing. You'd be an incognito. Dude, incognito all the time. Just doesn't matter what. Incognito always. Someone asking if I like Poland Ball. I'm not, for those of you unfamiliar, Poland Ball, sort of I think a fairly old format in the, within history memes of just, simplifying historical stories and contexts with, little simple cartoon characters. I am not super familiar, or like, I know what it is, and I like it when I see it most of the time. I don't go out of my way to look for Poland Ball. Someone talking about, thank you for making my job on assembling the Education YouTube cinematic universe, in which you connect all the educational channels in one chart. You are going to have, Matthew, you're going to have a real hard time with that, because there are literally hundreds. We recently, I believe there recently passed, like 100 different just history channels that are all kind of together and familiar with each other. So good luck connecting the entire educational sphere. Someone asking, Flavius Constantinus Magnus, love that name, asking if I've ever heard of Brain for Breakfast. I have. Brain for Breakfast is... Let me go back here, since it's only in the B's. Yeah, I had subscribed to him, and unfortunately... I guess on the context of Poland Ball. Yeah. Brain for Breakfast, I believe, had passed away close to like a year ago, which is unfortunate. I don't know. I'm still... I guess there isn't like a particular reason to still be subscribed to the channel, but like if anything else comes out that is, connected to what he did, then I would want to know. I have a few less morbidly quote-unquote dead channels in here that are just things that I keep just to see if, like, one day, years down the line, all of a sudden, bam, new post. Which has happened once or twice, and is always, like, takes me that 1 second to go, wait a minute, what's this? Could it be? It's been so long, I've forgotten. We've got, let's see. Oh, another person, Anna, who was on the, the Henry VIII video. I was thinking the Cleopatra video because I did that one shortly after. But it was Henry VIII, and she did all the ands, appropriately enough. Excellent singer. Kind of totally unrelated to what I do, so I'm guessing not everybody is familiar, but like one of my favorite vocalists. Atlas Pro Geography channel, who does... I feel like I haven't seen all of his videos, but he does some interesting things. Like, if you're a fan of Geography Now, Atlas Pro does some interesting videos where he takes like the subject of geography and does it in sort of a more, like, I don't know if conventional is the right word, but like a question-based approach, where he'll have stuff like, what if Antarctica melted? Or what if there was a new African superpower? He did an interesting one as well on, I think it was like the most common name in the world or something. Johann, and how that name kind of spread and all of its different variations in different countries. And that's how you get, like, Johann, but also John, and some other weird ones that I have forgotten. Austin McConnell is another good guy. He did, this is sort of where I got the idea to do just a, like, little recap of some of my creators that I watch, because he's done these different videos on, it'll be like 5 channels with fewer than 1,000 subscribers or something like that, which I don't know actually if I've found ones from that I've stuck around with a lot, but I really like the idea. And there are some people on my own list that have, like, fewer than 100 or something. So at some point you can just go flood them with love and support and appreciation. I've thought about if I ever did like a second channel type thing, making like a video or two kind of similar to this, but, a little more put together and well edited about, like, different YouTubers I like, or music, or just sort of, things that I want to appreciate, call attention to, especially like things that have influenced me in terms of like my personal style, that kind of thing, but that aren't super well known, like a video game that I used to play a long time ago that never made it out of beta, or that kind of thing. Someone talking about, Austin McConnell, his Less Than 1,000 series. I want to say he does those, like, on a semi-yearly basis. I wonder where he goes to get those. I guess, like, probably just trolls through Reddit's r-newtubers for a little while. That's actually how I found a few of these people. Because when you just start out on YouTube, there's this subreddit community that seems to attract everybody. What's going on about Britannia? Britannia, Alderaan, Britannia, Kazakhstan, Santa Maria, Britannia, and Britannia. Points to anyone that gets that reference. E-Story. That sounds familiar. I don't believe I'm subscribed to them, but I've definitely seen their videos before. Oh yeah, which one of their videos was I watching? I don't know. Could have been monarchies disappearing, or I'm trying to think what I've had to research recently that would have come up. Like possibly, I've been researching. I'll give a vague hint as to the next or an upcoming video, I should say. I've been doing some research on Polish history, and specifically kind of semi-modern Polish history, so look forward to that. Been a long time since I've done anything on Poland. We can probably close this. People asking about a lot of other history channels that I watch, and basically I am familiar to some extent with most of them, because even if I haven't seen all their videos or like I'm watching all their videos regularly, I see their name come up a little bit, like I'm kind of in contact with them. Someone talking about seeing Anna on the list. Someone else asked me a question that I just missed. Oh yeah, that was asking about History Matters. Oh, Lang Focus. I'm not subscribed to Lang Focus, although I'm familiar. But there's one. I know there's at least one linguistics channel in here. I've forgotten actually which one it was. I want to say there's. I'm familiar with Conlang Critic. I'm not subscribed to him. There's another channel that's not all. It isn't all like language based, but it's kind of related. They'll do language occasionally. It's just like world building more generally. This guy was fun. I think this was the case. Yeah, this was a case where I just watched one video and was like, okay, I want to see more of this. Just very kind of like high octane, sort of similar to some of my old videos in terms of just like rapid fire jokes and things coming at you. He did a good summary of Kingdom Hearts that was really strangely helpful, because I have never. Oh gosh, I played Kingdom Hearts like once a long time ago. When I was a kid, I had the Game Boy version of Kingdom Hearts 2, maybe? There's so many that have random names that I don't know. And so that was fun just to see what all the fuss about Kingdom Hearts 3 was about. Bernadette Banner, sort of a not really in the historical community, but in terms of like, history focused channels, but does like a bunch of historical clothing and sewing and that kind of thing. I think I saw her video about like corsets. Yeah, myths about corsets. And she recreates all these cool historical costumes from kind of everywhere between like medieval and Victorian. Although it would be interesting to see her do some like, ancient Roman stola or something. Although I'm guessing that not a lot of like sewing patterns and things have survived from that time period. And also I'm not sure that there was a lot of sewing involved. I feel like those sheets were fairly loose and you just kind of like did your own thing. Ashley from Best Dressed had a good video on it was a very sort of ennui filled graduating from college and I don't know what to do with my life video. So even though like a lot of her fashion stuff doesn't like immediately apply to me, there's just a very, I don't know, I think it's a very good channel that captures a lot of like what I in theory like about vlogs, even though I don't actually watch a bunch. Check on chat, see what's going on in there. Yeah, someone's saying, literally wearing a sheet. Yeah, I think that's kind of how... Well, I mean, it's not, Zephyrus knows Bernadette Banner as well. It is a smaller world every single day. Yeah, although, like, I think there were variations in, Roman clothing. Like, I want to say that Stolas, like, are different. Like, togas, I think, were basically a sheet, but I think not quite everything was. Scrolling up through chat to see what's going on. Extra credits. I'm trying to see if anyone caught any channels as I was like quickly scrolling up and down. Someone's saying there must be channels for historical Roman clothing. Probably. I'm not super familiar with clothing channels at large. Blue Shades is a good one. Yeah, Blue Shades, so I'll jump into that, I suppose. Blue Shades does a good... I want to say he used to do videos about, like, YouTube and YouTube channels, and I think that's probably how I originally found him. Yeah, like, he did videos on, like, video essays and Eddsworld, Nakey Jakey, and sort of, like, also just larger things on YouTube as a whole. And that's how I originally found him, because that was when I was, like any good small YouTube channel, watching a bunch of videos about YouTube, hoping that it would impart some knowledge. And now he does a bunch of stuff on, like, memes and things, and that often go sort of way over my head. Although, this was a good one. He did a thing on this, like, parody webcomic of where they turned, like, classic Hanna-Barbera cartoons into, like, a shonen action manga. That was a lot of fun. And also little bits of, like, internet history and that kind of thing. In case it doesn't show, I have some nostalgia for, like, circa 2010 internet. Speaking of video essays, Big Joel has a pretty good series. He does kind of a mix of... it's like half takes on, like, media, and half takes on sort of politics. Like he did oh yeah, he also had a good video on small YouTube culture, which is great. I don't think that's actually how I found him, though. I think I watched his, like, DreamWorks series, maybe? Where he did, like, I can just pull them up. Yeah, Over the Hedge and Shark Tale and all these kind of, like, forgotten DreamWorks movies that are not getting a whole bunch of critical acclaim, but that still kind of, like, linger in people's subconsciousness. I really hope it doesn't bring me back to the top of this every single time. That's going to be annoying to scroll down. Binging with Babish, classic. I am consistently amazed, like, it seems like every time I pay attention to it, his subscriber count has just gotten larger. Because it passed 1 million, and now all of a sudden it's, like, going for 10. I guess I'll go through the B's, and then I'll go back and take some questions for chat. Boy in a Band. I haven't seen... Well, I'm tempted to say that I haven't seen a ton of his videos just because I feel like he doesn't put out videos that often. But I feel like I've probably seen more than I let on. He's done some really interesting... So every once in a while, he partners with other sort of, like, you know, very large YouTubers. Like, he did, like, Odd Ones Out, PewDiePie, that kind of thing. And... He puts out these, like, behind-the-scenes, like, making-of videos that I think are really interesting. Because music is one of those things that, like, I'm very curious about it, and I watch some channels about, like, music theory and that kind of thing, but I just have no, like, experience with actually making anything, so it's really cool to, I don't know, I like videos that show you how to make stuff. I like making things. Bruce Duke, good. This is a really interesting take on like storytime channels, because so many of them, I think storytime channels are really interesting because effectively you can use that format for almost anything. And maybe it's just because I'm not, like, in deep enough in the, like, storytime animatic community or whatever. But you could, like, have any kind of personality and tell your stories with, you know, cartoons. But there tends to be this thing of, like, it's all kind of, and I don't mean to rag on anyone, but it's all kind of, like, quirky introverts, you know, art kids kind of around the same age, and probably just because they all, you know, grew their channels together. Like, there's a lot of history channels that are kind of like that. Like, myself and Cogito and M. Laser all kind of, like, came up at around the same time, and are all kind of, like, similar in size. But then you have, like, someone like Bruce Du, who is just, like, swearing like a sailor and talking about all these sort of, you know, less than advertiser-friendly... Well, not entirely, but I wouldn't call him an advertiser-friendly channel on the whole. And yet, like, find him really engaging, and it's one of the ones that caught my attention and made me stick around. Ooh, okay. So, last of the bees. Britannic, this is one, Britannic is one who, basically, I think the reason I'm on YouTube is probably because of these guys. They did, well, they still do, sketch comedy, and that was kind of what I originally wanted to do on YouTube, was, sketch comedy, and I did that, like, in high school. And so, like, a big sort of my, like, sense of humor and that has been influenced by them. I think I made one of the live streams I did a little while back with my occasional co-host Bennett. We made some, like, passing reference to them and assumed that, like, okay, like, subscriber count, you know, 287,000. Like, one of those people must surely be in my audience, and no one picked up on it. It was so sad, and I was greatly disappointed. And now I'm just gonna jump back in and see what everyone has to say. This is Barris is here. Welcome. People talking about Cogito. Yeah. Yeah, great guy. Cute animations. Oh yeah, I forgot about that. That Cogito did videos for Kings and Generals, which is another channel that I'll occasionally watch. They did a really good series on the Three Kingdoms period. In any case, yeah, Cogito did videos with them for a while. He did, like, sort of some in his own style that didn't really stick. I know he did, he edited for them for a while and did some stuff in their style, I think, as well, but I'm not sure that he's still working with them. I think he may have left when he went, I think he went full-time on his channel. I don't know. I'll have to ask him. Mesoamerican History 2, Inca, yeah. Yeah, he did some good topics. Kind of see... Now I'm just scrolling up and seeing, like, what people actually had to say about anything that I went through. Comedic Noob saying, it's my birthday, please notice me. Noticed. Dingo, yeah, Dingo's on there. Lindsay Ellis, Big Joel, OSP. OSP was on the list. You can scrub to see the list, or at least 75% of it. Yeah, OSP. I've had the the honor of working with Blue a couple times on Machiavelli and Wu Zetian. I feel bad because Wu Zetian really came down to the wire, and I felt like so bad about like feeling like I was potentially going to like mess up their whole schedule because I put a video out late, or else they were just gonna have to like totally cut my segment. Especially after he had done like such a huge favor for me by like putting basically the whole like Wu Zetian segment into their medieval China video. So I really hope I didn't burn any bridges doing that. Because I was, you know, still doing this sort of part-time when I was working on that. Someone asking, what's your opinion on Monty Python? Love Monty Python. Another big influence. Someone asking about, like, military... Louise Saw asking about military channels, military history channels in general. I don't watch a ton. I watch some Kings and Generals. I think it's not strictly a military channel, but I want to say Historia Civilis did a few sort of like military style channels. Like I think he did like the Siege of Alesia. Everybody likes Monty Python. It's true. Nobody dislikes Monty Python. Nobody. They're impossible. It doesn't. Those people don't exist. Someone was talking about saying Shadiversity's here, and I don't know whether that means on the list, because I don't know if I scrolled all the way down to S or not, or if he like suddenly appeared in the chat. And if he did, that would be amazing. Although I don't see him. Matthew Taylor asking, who's familiar with Trey the Explainer? I'm familiar with Trey the Explainer. I just recently watched his video on the Minoans. That was a good video. I think it came up on the last live stream as well. Or the one before. I don't remember. Styx Wizard says, hello, what did I miss? Not a whole bunch. You've missed, let's see. Oh, shoot, I forgot to open a new tab. So we're going to have to start from the top anyway. You've missed some other history channels, geography, Sublo and Tangy Mustard guy, Bernadette Banner, Binging with Babish. We've gotten through the Bees, basically, and Britannic, who I'll just mention again. CGP Grey, I feel like I don't need to say anything about CGP Grey anymore. Everybody knows him. Someone was saying he was great when he wasn't talking history, and I don't think... I'll have to revisit some of his history videos, because I didn't know enough about history when I was watching some of his early videos to really comment. Chris Conradi, this guy's kind of interesting. He does these videos on... So he's kind of like one of, you know, some of those, like, business guru type guys, except he does this thing where he has, like, a series where he basically does, like, an experimental business type thing just to, like, actually show the process that he went through, where he, like, did this whole thing with, like, yeah, custom socks, where he's like, okay, I am going to roll the cameras, start this thing, you know, hire people, get a whole system going, and really kind of show the behind the scenes, which I thought was really interesting, and sort of, you know, a lot more, more valuable, but also just, like, more entertaining than most of the guys, you know, than most of those, oh my god, what's that guy, what's the knowledge guy's name, with the, like, Ferrari and the bookshelf, and, like, Ty Lopez. Now I'm gonna get, in 3 minutes, I'm gonna get a bunch of, comments in the chat telling me, it's Ty Lopez, you fool. Zephyr saying, Gray is great. HI, his podcast is fantastic. Yeah, Hello Internet is, I really enjoyed that. And, Cortex. Cortex is another good one. It's been interesting hearing what's been going on in Cortex since, the pandemic broke out. Someone said that I had skipped over Brains for Breakfast. I talked about him a little bit earlier. I didn't mean to like skip over him. Someone brought him up like 20 minutes ago, just like Mirza Ahmed is saying. So just rewind a little bit, and I'll talk about that. Yes, knowledge. Let's see. Someone's asking about views on Louis XIV and Versailles. You know, Louis XIV, I know he was, like, a thing. I know absolute monarchy was a thing. Versailles was a thing, and the whole bit about him, like, you know, getting more powerful by just trying to get everyone around him. But, yeah, I don't know. I have never really studied him, for lack of a better term. I see that there's chat revenue showing up, but I don't see where the messages are, so I'll have to go back and see them. From Normac Cameron, thank you. Sorry I took so long to get to you. Saying, do a video about Carl Mannerheim, total Chad. I like the idea of just, like, every other video on this channel being about some Chad or another. And WYKD... thank you for your donation, saying, hey, Jack, do you know about Alternate History Hub? Do I know about Alternate History Hub? Everybody knows about Alternate History Hub. Yeah, it's interesting. I'm actually not sure if I'm subscribed to him, but he's put out some really interesting videos, and I got the chance to meet him very briefly at VidCon 2019. RIP VidCon 2020. Maybe 2021 I'll get to go back. I wasn't really planning on going this year anyway. It was a sort of a... I don't know. It's an interesting experience. It was really cool to, like, get to meet a bunch of people in the history community, especially, like, the people that I had talked to for a little while, but had never had a, like, full-on, in-person conversation with. But aside from that, it's very much like... It's weird because it tries to be both a convention for creators as well as a convention for fans. And I feel like that doesn't entirely work, especially because it seems like they have to really gear it mostly towards fans, and just hope that the fact that, like, all the creators being there will drive more fans. But in terms of, like, what valuable things there are for creators there... There's not, like, a ton. It's mostly just kind of a cool excuse to go, like, meet a bunch of people in person. I saw something from Barris again. Oh, Louis XIV is your next video. Yes, all right. I am excited to finally learn some more about him then. That's going to be awesome. I don't know why... Maybe it's a verification thing. But, like, Zephyrus is showing up with the check mark, making it, like, super easy to pick him out. And then Barris, I'm like, I keep looking for your comments, knowing that you said something, and missing them. Zephyrus saying, Louis the 11th had the best nickname, the Universal Spider. Is that a real thing? Because if so, that's incredible. Who even is Louis the 11th? I kind of know Louis the 12th, but that's Universal Spider. There you go. Is this dude like a Littlefinger type character or what? Taste for intrigue and intense diplomatic activity. The cunning, the Universal Spider. Ah. Okay. I'm gonna have to save this. He wasn't the one that died in a stupid way as well. Was he? No. One of, maybe that was Louis XII, but there was some French king that also died, like, falling down the stairs or something like that. Something of that nature. Let's see. I'll try to make it through the C's and dip back to chat. We got City Beautiful, if, like, the only, urban planning channel that I'm aware of. So if that's something you're interested in, or something you think you might be interested in, he's your guy. Talks about basically what's on the tin. But also, like, yeah, also does some of these ones, like, history of Tokyo, and like all these really interesting things that I wasn't really aware of. Like, obviously, there's a lot of like, a push for more public transit and like fewer cars and that kind of thing. And that shows up a lot. But there's also some interesting looks at like what, how do we define suburbs? Look at like Tokyo or Soviet cities, and all these sort of like things that I never really considered. I finally opened it in a new tab for once. Code Parade. I think this is one where I watched like one of his videos and was like, yes, sign me up. And then it's been a while. That's right. He did this non-Euclidean explanation, which, yes, I think I saw that and was like, oh, I want to see more of that. I'll put this on mute and just like show some visuals. Hopefully he doesn't come try to like copyright strike me for showing off his channel. But yeah, some really interesting stuff on projections and geometry and just like, I don't know, just weird ways of visualizing math that like make a really complicated idea much more condensed and simple. Community channel. Oh, this was one of those channels that I forget who told me about her channel. But this was like one of the dead channels that I was subscribed to, and I found it like years after she had stopped posting. So I just decided to subscribe, and just on the odd event that something else comes back. She did. I mean, she's got a huge backlog. Basically, all these videos about random observations and like does the I think she does the old sort of like classic YouTube trick of like, I'll put myself in two locations and be talking to myself, and I'll split screen and make clones and that kind of thing. Kind of like Wheezy Waiter did, I think. Although I don't know if that's the best comparison. But she did like a live stream a couple months ago out of the blue that apparently is not listed up here. So like, she is alive. Let's see. ContraPoints is a good channel. I feel like everybody who's heard of ContraPoints probably has their own opinions already that I'm not going to be able to influence one way or the other. But anyone that hasn't heard of ContraPoints ought to. Cortex, CGP Grey's other podcasts in addition to Hello Internet, it's partially focused on like work and self-employment, which is great for me, and partially focused on like Apple products and the specs of the latest iPad and something about using multiple iPads and how the different styluses, and like that part just completely loses me. So I watch about half the episodes on that, or I'll watch the episode and then just kind of like skip through parts of it. Crazy Boris, as I mentioned earlier, has another animated series on YouTube, all too rare these days, called Dungeon Dynamite, and he has an excellent voice. Again, Teddy Roosevelt from the Teddy Roosevelt video. So definitely go, like, I am amazed that, like, his main series videos aren't getting more views. Probably because, like, in order to watch episode 5, you have to watch episodes 1 through 4, and so that means each one's gonna get fewer, but yeah, he deserves more. Curie Lou, I believe this was, she had like a student film posted that had just like amazing animation, and I think this was all like done by one person. So I just sort of subscribed to this channel in hopes that, like, 5 years from now when she's directing a movie or something, I will be notified. Really, like, awesome, like, color and movement and all those animation words. And that brings us through the C's. Any thoughts? See what people are talking about. asking about a video about Madame de Montespan. I don't know who that is. Sigurd, Earl of Orkney. People, actually, you're probably pretty smart to do this and like start asking me things a few minutes before I stop talking about whatever it is that I'm talking about. I'm unfamiliar with both those people. However, someone... Shilavitya Banerjee, and I apologize for what I've done to your name, asking if I speak French or any other languages. Je parle un peu de français parce que j'ai étudié français dans l'école secondaire pour 3 ans, mais comme tu peux voir, il n'est pas terrifique. Which is to say, I speak a little French, studied it for a bit, not great at it. Hi, I'm a dog saying, bye everybody, see you next live stream. See you later. People asking if I've seen Jay Foreman, of course. Mapmen, excellent. Men. Wendover, real life lore. Y'all gotta stop asking about people that have like names starting with W's or something, because I don't think we're gonna get there. This is Barris. Oh, thank you for your compliments on my French and my accent. I don't know what that means. I don't know what you mean by cute accent. Is that like, have I still got like an American accent or something? Or is it like something that I picked up from my French teacher? Mapmen. All Mapmen in the comments. Do you speak Uzbek, Esperanto, Klingon, Pidgin? Doesn't everybody? Comment earlier saying B1M is a good city one. That's right. I do know B1M. Because B1M talks a lot about like kind of like not all mega projects, but like specific projects within cities, and those are pretty good. Compliments to Aton Shea. Yeah, someone saying B1M isn't urban planning, it's building, construction, and engineering. You know, small difference. Real engineering is on here. Someone asking about, who did Salmonella make a video on? I don't know. Oh wait, Barris, I didn't hear, your explanation of my accent. And a lot of people now asking if I can speak Italian or anything else. French is the only one. I can't string together a sentence in any other language. I have absorbed sort of like, the baseline weeb words of Japanese, but that's I can't, like, I could not speak to anybody. Same with like a tiny bit of Spanish. A tiny bit of like Norwegian stuff from Duolingo, that kind of thing. Let's see. Ooh, okay, so we get some of the really underappreciated channels coming up. DA Group Education, I believe he does alternate histories. I think. Yeah. Alternate histories, as well as some other things, but that's what brought me to his channel. That he kind of goes like, pretty in depth and makes a compelling case, or at least a compelling story as to like how events unfold. Dark Squidge, which is, if any of you are familiar with Tom Ska, who, not to be confused with Tom Scott, who I don't want to say that he's like not a popular channel anymore, because he is, and he's still making a living from it, but I associate a lot of his stuff with like, the things that I saw a long time ago. He also does Asdaf movie, But he does a bunch of like sketches and things, and this is his sort of like vlog second channel. He used to do a series called Last Week, where basically weekly vlogs. But what I found really interesting about it was that it wasn't like a lot of cases with vlogs. If your vlog is big enough that you are actually like making a living from it, then you're kind of vlogging about yourself vlogging, and I kind of lose interest. But the fact that he was running this other like fully independent channel that was where most of his work was going, made it so that it was a really good insight into like what was going on behind the scenes on his channel, which was really helpful for me. And also, it was just like more interesting content to watch. And then we have some really underappreciated channels. Death and Tokens. I don't remember when I found them. Clearly a long time ago. 6 years ago. That's even before I started making videos. So it wasn't when I was on Reddit sharing and promoting my stuff. But it like a solid kind of philosophical video game analysis, and like using things from video games to analyze like unrelated topics. Pretty solid work. Deep Dive is the animator I'm working with right now. This is her channel that she's working on with a friend of hers that kind of it's like I don't know what the best logline for it is, but it's kind of like a general interest social, not like sociology, but evidenced by the things on screen. Dingo Doodles, another good. I found her when I was on a binge of just like D&D content, because I still have not done an actual full D&D campaign. I've only done a couple one-offs with friends, but it's always really entertaining just to hear other people's stories, as well as there was like a live stream, not Critical Role, High Rollers, I think is what it was. That was one that I didn't finish it. I didn't finish their first campaign, but I got like a few episodes into it. It was a good time. It's always like it's kind of the essence of like, gathering around the tables with your friends, except your friends are recording themselves 1,000 miles away. Double Yoke is... Are they still uploading? I feel like I don't remember them very well. They are still uploading occasionally. I want to say they're like visual essays. Really, yeah, I guess just general interest. If I remember correctly, their presentation was kind of in the style of like a visual essay, nerd writer type thing. I'm talking about a show you might like is The Life and Times of David Lloyd George, produced by the BBC in 1981, available on YouTube. All right. Someone asking, or Shiladitya Banerjee asking, do you enjoy listening to Mozart? Mozart's alright. I'm gonna be honest, I don't have any Mozart on my Spotify. I do have Bach, though, so I guess, yeah, if it, like, between Mozart, Bach, and Beethoven, Mozart is definitely on the bottom of that trio for me. People commenting earlier about nostalgia of Astaf movie. Hashtag content. Yes! Mark, you know what I'm talking about. Barris is now claiming a throne of some nature. Potato Mahon Man talking about Bosnia. Um, yes, agreed. Potato Mahon Man. Beethoven is better than Mozart. I feel like Mozart is like of classical music. I feel like Mozart is very much like the pop music of classical music, which isn't like, you know, a judgment on like his value or anything. It's just not super what I'm into. I'm trying to understand the conversations that are going on right now, and there's too many happening at once. Do I enjoy listening to Bosnian music? I'm unfamiliar with Bosnian music. Jake the Genie, I have seen some Blackadder. From what I've seen, I really enjoyed. I think I saw... I think the World War I Blackadder was great. Henri du Fromage... Bosnia is greater than Mozart. Uh-oh. Now I'm seeing people trying to rank Balkan countries, and I feel like that's going to get us all in trouble, so... Spanish Inquisition, Bosnian music... Yeah. What would you say are your niche music states? Tastes, I'm guessing? I feel like I could probably make like a separate video just all to do with niche music tastes. I'll let me scroll through my Spotify. There's a bunch of like there's some a bunch of like niche power metal and things like that. There's some like 70s prog rock. There's some drum and bass, some Bach, some good stuff all around. Maybe that'll be a future live stream or something. Who knows? Let's see who else we got here. Economics Explained has been making some really good videos recently. I've been subscribed for a little while, but he has some really good things that kind of like just make you think about economics in a different way than you're used to. Why Australia is an American company, that was a good one. There was another one about Do We Need Recessions was an interesting one. Hedge funds explained. A lot of like, again, like asking just really, really interesting questions. And also he has a series on kind of like the economics of individual countries, although those, I don't know, those I think are alright. Did he do... I want to say he did a video on the economics of EVE Online as well. Yeah, maybe that's how I first found him. But that was a really interesting video as well, as far as like similar format to what he did with different countries, but applied to this, you know, MMO. EVE is insane. I've always wanted to kind of like get into EVE or learn more about EVE, but I don't have the time to learn a whole bunch about spreadsheets and, you know, try to work for some federation for space money. So as like compelling as I think that can be, because I think it can be like, I love how like real it feels, it's a commitment. Eddie Burback, I'm guessing a lot of people are probably familiar with Gus Johnson, and if you are, he's worked with Gus Johnson a lot and has a kind of a similar style, but he has a bunch of stuff exploring, like, sometimes it's stuff from like his childhood, sometimes it's just like weird things he finds, but he always does kind of a good job of like finding like weird, ridiculous stuff and then kind of weaving in this thread of like, but this is a real thing and you should probably care about it. Emp Lemon has has... Oh, no, I've clicked on it on this tab. I guess also kind of like internet, the analysis-y stuff. But also, his Never Ever series is really good, because it can make you really care about things that you were not expecting. Because he did this whole video, yeah, like an hour and a half on this competitive Super Smash Bros. Melee player, and another one on Dale Earnhardt that I was watching last night. And all of a sudden, like at the end of those videos, you're like, whoa! I need to know more. Suddenly, I'm really passionate about Smash Bros. Melee and NASCAR. Every Frame of Painting, there's a channel that died a long time ago, and I don't think is coming back. But they were sort of the original kind of like popular video essay film analysis channel. I forget why he ended up quitting. I think it was like burnout. There was a whole... Fortunately, there is like a whole post that he made explaining kind of what was going on and why he wasn't there anymore. Alas. Feature... Okay, so I'll do the Fs real quick. Feature History was kind enough to work with me when he had like 100,000 subscribers and I had like 100. And that was for an old video of mine on Tokugawa Ieyasu, and he made a corresponding video on the Meiji Restoration, and that got me like 1,000 subscribers in a day when I was at like 600 before. And he has like some real funny videos, and he does some modern history as well. Like he did, I don't know if it was called like the Toyota War or something, but it was like the use of a specific Toyota truck in modern guerrilla warfare. Yes, the Great Toyota War, as well as I think somewhere he did the Emu War as well. So a lot of sometimes like the stuff that I don't normally cover. So for all of you who are asking me about feature history, there you go. Someone trashing the Melee video. Talking about Slapshoes, a great NASCAR channel. I'm actually... I don't know a ton about NASCAR, although I'm like somewhat... I've seen it a bunch, but I don't know much about it. Oh my gosh, all of a sudden, chat's going crazy. French Empire... Oh, people debating the French Empire versus the Republics. I feel like the French Republics, that covers a lot of stuff. Like, you could... there's like 5 of them. I imagine they're probably... I imagine like the First Republic is probably pretty different from the Last Republic. Or from the Fifth Republic. Who knows? There might be another. They'll just change their constitution again. Pose saying you should stream channel statistics next week. That'd be kind of interesting. I always like to see other people's statistics. I don't know what exactly the audience for my statistics would be, and to what extent I'm allowed to talk about certain statistics. But if that's, like, let me know if that's something that people are interested in, and I can try to think of something to say about it. Someone was asking, Abhinav Ananth asking, according to your channel analysis, what is your viewer age? I think like something like 70% of my viewers or something are between 18 and like, I forget if it's 18 and 34 or 18 and 45. But the two sort of middle demographics, let's see. They are... Ooh, I'm on the wrong tab. Okay, yeah, 73% of my audience is between 18 and 34. Zephyrus says, channel stats are always interesting. Good. A communist chair. I'm reading from the bottom up, so I just see stop talking first, and I just assumed you were talking to me. I'm thinking, you are in sort of the wrong place right now. Saying, thanks for the pronunciation, I know it's hard. No problem, Abhinav Ananth. My age is yes. Oh, I see what's going on. I see why people are talking about France now. Napoleon III of the French Empire has entered chat. Thank you, Serp McDerp, saying, love your stuff and take my money, you beautiful man. Thank you, you beautiful man. Keanu Reeves. No, you're breathtaking. A comment about saying you were only heir for your Polk video. He never served in the military. He was in the Tennessee State Militia. Oh, does that not count? Does that not count as military? I don't know. They just left Mexico because U.S. had finished Civil War and was going to get involved. So I'm gonna say, in regards to whatever this, I have not read all of what's going on in this argument, but I'm gonna say Paris probably knows what he's talking about. That's a guess, but he's an authority as much as anyone else in this chat. All right. Let's see. So yeah, this is where I ask any more questions before I jump into the rest of the channels, but it takes too long. I'll do okay. I will ask now if anyone has any questions for me, and then I'll jump in. I'll do like 2, and then I'll come back. Folding Ideas does a bunch of interesting media analysis, both like movies and video games. He had an interesting series of videos that he did that was a lukewarm defense of 50 Shades of Grey, which was an interesting retrospective on that series. Food Wishes. This comes from the period of a few months when I was watching a whole bunch of food channels. He has some of like my favorite recipes of any like food channels that I have watched. I've made a few. Like the banana pudding that he had was phenomenal. Although whenever I pay too much attention to the video, I am always a little bit frustrated because he speaks every sentence with the exact same inclination and tone of voice regardless of what the words are, and that does start to get to me if I watch too many of his videos at once. And now I will jump back to chat and see what's going on. Am I a Slav or a Celt? I am neither. I suppose I have some like British Isles ancestry, so maybe there's some Celt in there. Favorite cocktail? I actually don't drink, so I wouldn't know. Am I European? Since he served in the Tennessee State Militia, apparently. Ben Livengood saying, I genuinely enjoy your videos. Thank you. I'm glad. Someone else asking about where I live, and that's going to be kept private. Napoleon III saying, don't speak Bismarck's name here. I've done it now. Views on Oversimplified. I have not seen a bunch of Oversimplified videos. I think he had a good one on War of the Bucket, and I think he he credited M Laser for, because M Laser had done a video on that earlier. M Laser, because I hadn't gotten to him yet, but M Laser does do a bunch of really interesting videos that kind of like will take kind of popular stories from history and try to give a like more accurate like primary source account of what actually happened. Like he did the War of the Bucket, he did the Battle of Karansebes, and kind of a few others in that vein. So he's really like sort of like the, you know, the history fans history channel. Kim Ahrenschold saying, thank you for putting way too much effort into your videos. I thoroughly enjoy them. You are quite welcome. Pose saying, M Laser is my favorite dude. Let's do a video on Bosnia. I don't have a bunch of stuff on the Balkans. Although I did a video on Serbia recently on Useful Charts channel. Talking about extra credit series on Bismarck. I don't have a bunch of opinions on Bismarck, to be honest. I only know him through extra credits videos and my Napoleon III video. Although my understanding of Prussia is very much influenced from the perspective of all of Prussia's enemies. People asking about a Discord server. Would you be interested in a Discord server even if I wasn't on there a whole bunch? Because I don't know that that's something I can promise. I'd probably check it out, but I usually do my best just to like respond to people on live stream and through YouTube comments. Opinions on Bismarck the ship. Bismarck the ship had... there was a song about a ship that sank. One of the German ships that sank, I believe, off the coast of Norway in World War II. And I don't know if that was the Bismarck or not. So my feelings on the battleship Bismarck will heavily depend on if it is the song, if it is the ship that I think it is or not. No, it's not, because the ship that I'm thinking of is the Blucher. So the Bismarck ship, I don't know anything about. Yeah, that's all I got. It's a shame that like all the a lot of the... Oh, okay. I think this is about the Discord, and I'm seeing some yeses. I assume that's about the Discord. So, okay. That's helpful information. Oh, Bismarck ship. Sabaton had a song about the Bismarck ship. That makes sense. Okay, so I will say, if you like the Sabaton song about Bismarck, and if you are looking for another metal song about another German battleship that sank in World War II, I will recommend to you Blucher by Camelot. Have fun with that. It's a good one. Fadls saying you should have a subreddit. Someone did make a Jack Rackham subreddit. I'm not like affiliated with it or anything, but if you feel like sharing some memes, some history memes that are very specific and things that probably only my audience or a small handful of other channels might understand, there is a Jack Rackham subreddit. Abhinav Anant saying I can do a Discord server though. Yes. Okay, that's terrific. If you go to my About section on my channel, you can find my business email, and you can send me a message about Discord. Someone asking how you spell Blucher, and it is Blucher. And it's like you with a little like an umlaut on top of it, and I don't know how to type that. But yes, Kim Ehrenschild has it right. It's Blucher. Blucher. What platform are you on? Are you online most? I'm on YouTube most. I'm on YouTube most. I'm occasionally on like Reddit or Twitter. Blucher, like the German guy that fought Napoleon. Yeah, I don't actually know the original dude. Can the Discord be called the Grand Duchy of Rackham? I like that. Turn my last name into a location. All right, I'm going to keep going down the channel list a little bit, because I haven't been here. I haven't done this in a little bit. I'll try to make it like through approximately half, and that way I can save the other half for a future live stream. Game Maker's Toolkit, great. Another like video game analysis channel, but he does it more from the perspective of like, if you are making games and you want to make a good game, how do you do that? Not unlike any of the, the ground level, like, coding or anything like that, modeling, what have you, but in terms of, like, level design, that sort of thing. Geography Now, I'm sure almost everyone is familiar with. Basically, the go-to geography channel does a video about every single country recognized on the UN's list, and then I think he's going to go into, like, some of the, debated countries and sort of like, outliers, that sort of thing. Giguk, how do I describe his videos? It used to be sort of, well, way back in the day, it was kind of like reviews and things like that, and now it's just sort of, a handful of times he'll be talking about a show, but it's just kind of like, I don't know, anime memery. Glass Reflection, though, conveniently, they're right next to each other. Glass Reflection does a lot of, like, specific reviews about different things, and he's kind of my go-to for... I don't watch a ton of anime regularly, but I will watch his channel, and then when he recommends something that sounds like it's a really good fit for me personally, I'll watch it, and then I'll go, yes, this was a perfect fit, and I will cherish it forever. Go Verba now. Oh, who is this guy? Every once in a while, I find people that haven't posted in a while, and I've forgotten who they are. Oh, he hasn't uploaded in a while. Oh, this is going to be as informative for me as it is for you. Oh, okay, so he's done interviews with YouTubers in the past. Yeah, maybe... Did I meet him at VidCon, maybe? I'm not sure. Possibly. Although this is reminding me of, gosh, does anyone remember PBS Idea Channel? I so missed that show. That was a good one. I wonder what Mike Regnetta is doing these days, because he was on Crash Course for a bit, and then wasn't, or I think he's not still. I think his mythology series ended, so I don't know what he's doing now. PBS. Oh, okay, so he's still doing some stuff on PBS. Oh, that's cool. I'm sure there'll be people in chat telling me what I've missed with Mike Regnetta in the last 5 years. Pausing to look at chat again. Let's see. Graham Stephan is one of a few personal finance channels that I've been watching. Who personal finance plus a little bit of like occasionally he'll talk about like real estate, that sort of thing. He does some new things on There's like NBC has a series called Millennial Money that he does reactions to, and it's one of those things where like in general I found with personal finance channels, they're like I find them really interesting, and then I'll watch a bunch, and then I'll kind of get to a point where it's like the advice that they'll give you, it doesn't really change over time because, you know, the fundamentals of being good with money are kind of the same. So you end up hearing the same thing a lot. So I don't know how long or for how consistently I'll be following him, or like the Financial Diet is another one. But still, interesting, and for anyone who hasn't seen him, worth looking at. Guthlac, if I'm pronouncing this correctly, is a good under 1,000 subscriber history channel who does these sort of, not Poland ball, but, you know, circular characters. A lot about medieval history. Some good stuff. I'm trying to think which video of his specifically I would recommend. I think some of his, like, Anglo-Saxon, like, off of Mercia, some of those videos were kind of what pulled me to him at first. We've got Guy Bloke, who... Oh, passed on the wrong thing again. Who does some very, very good videos about German history and Austrian history. And he does not post often, but when he does, it is quality content. For some reason, I thought his videos were longer, but yeah, I've spoken with him a few times, although it's been a while, so I'll have to check in with him again. Half as interesting. Someone was talking about Wendover earlier. This is Wendover's other channel that's, like, you know, slightly more humorous, slightly more kind of random knowledge and trivia and things that are fun to talk about at parties. Hank's channel, Hank Green, who presumably needs no introduction, who, you know, launched, like, SciShow and Crash Course, and really the, like, very, very first big educational channels on YouTube. Like, really someone who I would love to kind of emulate in terms of career. Hat Gaming, that's one that I've been subscribed to for a while, that I've sort of been, like, on again, off again with, because they, like, over the years that I've followed them, their content has sort of, like, gotten progressively, like, raunchier. So it really kind of depends if it's the right series, I'll watch it. Hello Internet, CGP Grey, classic, and Brady Heron of Numberphile and all the other File channels, talking about YouTube life, work, and whatever. And a lot of, like, Hello Internet, I think it's a lot more of kind of, like, miscellaneous, interesting stories than something like Cortex. Vimara asks, Jack, what do you think about the Brazilian Empire? The Brazilian... having learned just a little bit about Brazilian history, I am always sort of surprised that Brazil didn't turn out kind of like as a bigger superpower than it did, because it seemed like it had a really, like, healthy, strong transition from being a colony to being its own nation. And then, like, it had, like, Pedro the First was pretty solid. Pedro the Second, like, brought a lot of reform to the country, and really kind of, like, modernized it. I don't know a ton about him. But as I recall, he was, like, generally a pretty, like, strong leader. And then, all of a sudden, like, he abolished slavery in, like, the 1890s, and then a bunch of, like, people were unhappy about that, and he got deposed in a coup, and then, like, basically Brazil just went back and forth under various dictatorships for many, many years, and I can't help but wonder, like, if they had kept their monarchy and had been able to, like, you know, transition to a constitutional monarchy in the way of, like, Britain or something, I can't help but wonder, like, what Brazil would look like today. Yeah, it's all the fault of the 1889 coup d'etat, says Vimara S. Shiladitya Banerjee saying, I converted my room to a French royal bedroom. Fancy. Pose saying, History with Hilbert also got a wild Discord. Yeah, that should be something I should start asking some of these guys about, their Discord and how they run it, and, like, you know, what it does. History with Hilbert is another good channel. I think he's one of the ones, like, recommended on the sidebar on my channel, who does kind of a bit of everything, because he's done, like, you know, Vikings, and the Zulu, and obviously, the Netherlands works its way in there somehow or another, almost every episode. I think, is the Wilhelmus, does Wilhelmus show up, like, every single episode? I'm not sure. Now I need to know that. Yeah, a little bit of everything, but always very informative, and I've referred to his videos for some of the research on mine. I want to say I was doing one of the Useful Charts videos, and he actually had a really good pronunciation in, like, his Zulu episode. Oh yeah, that was it. I was looking at how to pronounce Trekboer, and had to go over to his channel to see how a native speaker would say that. Let's see. I'm going to have to start winding down here pretty soon because I've got some other things I need to take care of tonight. History and Intrigue. A very good sort of, like... I don't know if pop culture history is the right way to say it, but sort of, like, not, like, you know, the world-changing events and things that influenced states or governments or, like, you know, models of society, but things like, you know, the history of popcorn, or this really particular hotel that was kind of interesting, or history of Candyland, these sorts of things. Another underappreciated channel with just under 3,000 subscribers. And History House Production, who I feel like is a channel that pretty consistently like makes me reevaluate and, like, try to up my game in terms of comedy and delivery. He's done... I worked with him on the Seminole Wars video when I did John Horse, which is one of my videos that unfortunately did not do super great. So that wasn't able to send quite as many people over to him as I thought. But yeah, a bunch of... kind of a mix of more traditional historical subjects, like Poland and World War II, as well as other things like African weapons, as well as some, like, kind of, you know, really silly, like, inherently silly topics, but manages to do them all justice. History Matters, formerly known as 10 Minute History, another solid channel. I feel like I'm going to run out of things to say about history channels, because there's a bunch and I have similar praise for a lot of them. But he also is really good about asking very specific and intriguing questions that use just enough of, like, the average person's familiarity with history, and then kind of, like, ask that question that maybe you hadn't considered anymore. Like, I think he did one on, like, what happened to Jefferson Davis after the end of the Confederacy. Things like why countries don't declare war anymore. How the USSR reacted to JFK's assassination. That was a good one. That was one of those things where you're like, oh yeah, I guess they would have opinions on that. Why have I not thought of that before? And the last of the H's, HM Butte, who does Cortex and Hello Internet animations. Yes, Mirza Ahmed and Astro Neon talking about. I keep wanting to call him 10-Minute History. History Matters, visual humor, that like super deadpan style is good stuff. Sert McDerp is back saying, well, Napoleon, I will see you on the Discord. Alright, fair enough, Napoleon. You heard the man. Your voice is being overshadowed by super donations or super chats. Someone asking me what I think of Puffinforus. Puffinforus is good. That was again in my kind of like phase when I was finding a bunch of D&D channels. He was like one of the first ones that I found. Some of his videos are kind of hit or miss for me, but like on the whole, I find his stuff really entertaining. Fadl's saying, I just subscribed 2 channels via this live chat. Perfect. As you should be. Hopefully some of the underrepresented ones so you can tell them I sent you and give me all that goodwill. Hilbert the Dutch God. I'm seeing more questions about videos on, like who I will do videos on, but I feel like I can't quite hit all of them. Sir McDerp talks only in super chats. Yes, I hope everyone shall talk only in super chats. That's the new rule. History Matters is a very funny guy, based on the fact it doesn't sound like he's trying. Yeah, I agree. How long has this been running? Hour and a half. Okay, I gotta wind down. Let me see if there's a particular person that I really want to touch on. I'll go through like the J's maybe. We'll do some rapid fire. I did a thing, some great stuff. I don't know if like engineering is the right thing to call it, but a lot of like, making things. Actually he did a video where he talked about like the 3 different kinds of videos he makes and why people only like one of them. But things like rubber bullets. He made this like supersonic ping pong ball launcher. Can a vacuum cleaner pull your eye out? All these sort of like ideas that no one in their right mind should have, and then it's just wonderful to see them carried out to their full extent. Internet Historian, I heard people talking about him earlier, probably doesn't need a big introduction. Does a lot of stuff about kind of like various antics and things that were popular on the internet for a while. Coney 2012, My Immortal, No Man's Sky, things like that. God, No Man's Sky. I remember being so excited for that. JJ McCullough, or McCullough. I don't know entirely how to pronounce his last name. I don't know if the GH is silent or not. But great guy. Does a bunch of videos on Canada, and is just putting out a book of Canadian Pokemon that he's crowdfunding for. So check that out if you're interested in Canadian history and Canadian politics. I was lucky enough to talk to him for a little while at VidCon last year, and had a great time talking to him. Oh yeah, he also did the Falun Gong video. That was a good one. Jabsy, I've been following him for a while. Does I'm not sure the best way to describe his history videos, but a lot of both some kind of mainstream, some less mainstream, but all sort of typically impactful events in history condensed into 3-ish minutes. We got Jaden Animations, because storytime channels on YouTube are a huge thing, and I'm basic. I feel like it doesn't take a whole bunch of explanations. Little life stories, that kind of thing. Kind of the thing I was talking about earlier, where a lot of the like really popular Storytime channels, they don't just share a format, they also share a genre and a personality and a presentation style. Although, of course, there's differences. Jay Foreman, who does... Yeah, I know a lot of people were talking about Map Men, but Politics Unboringed and his Unfinished London are also excellent projects of his. Which I find it really interesting that he'll do things like Map Men, which are, typically on a pretty large scale, and then he'll do things like, this is how the London boroughs were divided in the 60s. And you're like, whoa, I never knew I wanted to know this. And he's a singer, and he has some of the best like ad integrations that I've seen as well. And then the real reason I wanted to get to the Jays, Jell's Marble Runs, I've been watching, even before quarantine, I've been watching a bunch of these marble races, which you watch like the first handful of videos, and you're like, oh, this is kind of interesting. Like, I'm curious to see, how are they distributed? Like, this is a very, like, scientific approach, and how does this go? And then, like, after you watch a few, you have, like, a favorite team that you are just, like, dying to root for. And the event formerly known as the Marble Olympics is going on right now, and the O-Rangers are doing well, so it's a good year for marbles. And Joseph Anderson, who does video game reviews that are like 3 hours long, and I end up watching all of it. And that is about as far as I can go for the night. My throat's getting pretty dry, and I'll save the rest for another time. I'll take another like 5-10 minutes to hit any questions from chat. If there's any channels I should know about that you're familiar with, let's see. People talking about the videos on the London boroughs are so confusing. Yeah, that's Jay Foreman does have a real sort of like non-stop approach. Napoleon III is on his way. Farewell, sir. Vive la France. Bosnia had a good run on Marble Olympics. What? Marble... I feel like you have not seen that. Zephyrus still around. Poe's still around. Thanks for tuning in for the whole thing, guys. Here's Ahmed still around. Black Cat asking Sukjeong of Korea. I'm unfamiliar. Saying the Ks were coming up. Well, another time. I'll be posting a thing on the community tab pretty soon, asking basically like what kinds of streams you've enjoyed watching, how many you've seen, what time works best for you, all that kind of stuff. So I'll be looking forward to that. Ben Levingood, I enjoyed your live. Thank you. Pose says, Jay explained it amazing. The boroughs are just a mess. Well, that's true. Get more recommendations. Art history. Art history would be interesting. I've done music history, but not yet art history. I don't know enough artists. I'll have to think about that. Immediately, the first artist that comes to my mind is, he has this nickname of, like, he's got this confusing name that I can't spell, but he's called, like, the Nightmare Artist. No. Oh, yeah, this guy. Zdzisław Beksiński. Yeah. Who does all these sort of, like, creepy art stuff. Very sort of macabre. But I think, I forget what his life story was like, but I did read something about it. Anyway, I'll be thinking about art history. Fire Breathing Juice. Damn, I just got here. That's alright. You can rewind. Video will be unlisted once it's over, but, like, you can, right now, go back. Okay. That's about all I got. I'm not seeing a bunch of other stuff. Zephyrus saying, art history is extremely interesting. Reading a book at the moment about the history of forgeries. Interesting. Immediately my first thought went to like signature forgeries, and I'm like, how is that related? That's really cool. That was when I made a video for Jack Conti of Patreon did this like grant competition thing where you had to submit a video. So I pitched to him this idea of like, oh, you know, if you gave me money to like run this full time, one of the things that I would be interested in doing would be like sort of a more general interest channel. And one of the things that had caught my attention was like different artists who had like famous paintings but done by not famous artists. Like there was like a Jesus image, a very famous one that had been copied. Same with like the Mona Lisa. There was like somebody else's version of the Mona Lisa that I actually like better. So yeah, really interesting stuff. Now I'm not going to be able to stop thinking about art history. All right, now I need to say goodbye, and thank you all for coming out and watching. And have a good rest of your day, everybody.